Premier League managers, stay or sack? In this video I'm going to be predicting whether every Premier League manager will still be in their job come next May, or will they be sacked? Right, so let's not waste time and start off with Arsenal and Mikel Arteta. And I think Mikel Arteta will be fine. Arsenal have stuck by him for a long time now, and I don't see why this would change. He's a solid coach, and he deserves to stay in the Arsenal job for next season. Next up is Unai Emery of Aston Villa. And you know what? Actually, I think this could go to 50-50. He could be sacked, he could stay, I'm not sure. Well, why do I think this? Well, I think there's a lot of hype around Aston Villa and they may compete even for top 4. I think this may be a stretch too far even for Aston Villa. I think they may even struggle. In the last few years, they've made very strong signings such as Danny Ings, Diego Carlos and Leon Bailey. All of these signings didn't live up to the hype. And it could be the same for Moussa Diaby and Pau Torres, who are new signings this season. I could look like a complete idiot come May, but you never know. Every season there is always at least one surprise sacking. Unai Emery could be that one, you never know. Next up we have Bournemouth and Iraola, who is the newest coach in the Premier League, having joined on the 19th of June. Having looked at his record at Rayo Vallecano and CD Mirandes, I think he's a promising coach. He could do bits at Bournemouth. I think he'll be safe. I think it'll be a huge risk to just fire him so early into his spell at Bournemouth. I think his attacking style will really appeal to the fans, and I think they would be really stupid to let him go, unless results are very poor, but I think he'll keep them in a good position. He's an upgrade on Gary O'Neill. Now, for Brentford, we have Thomas Frank, and I also think this is a 50-50, solely because of Ivan Toney's ban. I think if Ivan Toney was safe, then the squad would be alright, and they do alright. But I think Brentford could slip into trouble, especially without a proven goalscorer. I know they have the likes of Mbeumo and Wissa, who are both solid, but they don't have a goalscorer who can score at least 15-20 goals in a Premier League season, like Toney can, and I think that could harm them. Right, so now we move on to Roberto De Zerbi, the Brighton boss. I mean, Brighton have only had 3 coaches since 2015. They don't have a tendency to sack managers in the Premier League. And De Zerbi already has a very good track record, having finished 6th last season. I think it would take something really bad to happen for him to be sacked. So I think he'll be safe come May. Next we have Vincent Kompany at Burnley. And I've said in the previous video that Burnley are going to be fine. They'll be safe, so I think Kompany will be too. Next on my list is Pochettino, the new manager at Chelsea, and I think he'll be safe. I know Chelsea have a tendency to sack managers, but I reckon Todd Bowley will have learned his lesson by now, and sacking such an elite manager. Yes, he has been sacked by an elite club in PSG, as well as being sacked by Spurs. I think he'll do alright there, and he'll still be the Chelsea boss in May. Next up is a man who saw the dinosaurs go extinct. Yes, it's Roy Hodgson, and I honestly think he'll be sacked. I know he's a Palace legend, but come on, the guy is too old to be managing at this point. He needs to be in a nursing home being fed by someone. I just think things won't quite click at Palace this season. They won't go down, but I think they'll really struggle and they'll need to replace their manager, much like they did last season with Patrick Vieira. Right, so next is Everton, and you know what I'm going to say. Obviously they're going to sack Sean Dyche at some point in the season. They always sack at least one manager in every season. Since David Moyes left in 2013, they've had 8 managers in that time. In the previous decade, they had just 1. Dyche ball wasn't actually that effective last season, and I don't think it will translate to this season. Again, with Palace, Everton will probably also survive, but they'll really struggle and they'll need to replace their coach. So next we have Marco Silva, and I'm very aware of the Saudi links, and I think this might disrupt Fulham, especially with Willian going to Saudi and Mitrovic going on strike, also wanting a Saudi move. I think this might cause serious problems, and I could see a real disaster implosion at Fulham. And so again, much like the last 2, I think Marco Silva could be sacked. Next is Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp.
Sorry, what?
Well, obviously he's safe. Right, let's move on to the next one. Rob Edwards at Luton Town. I think he's also safe. I think it would be very harsh for him to get sacked. after a remarkable job at Luton Town last season. Unless Luton are absolutely hideous in the Premier League, which I don't think they will be, I think they will be competitive. I think his job is safe, even if Luton are relegated. Next we have Pep Guardiola, and if Pep Guardiola is sacked this season, then I will eat 2 raw eggs. You can count on that. Next up we have Erik ten Hag at Manchester United, and I think for the most part he's safe, but he needs to worry a little bit if he doesn't win another trophy. I think Man United will have another solid season, but Ten Hag really needs to push his squad. The Carabao Cup isn't enough. Next up is Eddie Howe, and I don't see Newcastle having a huge fall off. They won't finish top 4, but I think they'll finish solid enough that Howe's job is safe. Next up is Steve Cooper at Nottingham Forest, and he's getting sacked this season. He was always linked with the sack last season, so I don't see this changing. And Nottingham Forest's owner is very well known for being ruthless with his managers, especially in Greece, and I could see this translating to the Nottingham Forest team. Steve Cooper will probably be one of the first ones to go. He'll probably be gone before Christmas, and for every month from January onwards that he isn't sacked, I will do a dare on this channel until the end of the season. Right, so next we have Paul Heckingbottom of Sheffield United, and he's getting sacked. I think Sheffield United will probably finish rock bottom or second bottom, and I don't have much hope for their squad. I don't actually think he's a very good coach, to be honest, so I think he'll be sacked pretty quickly, maybe even the first one to be sacked. Next up is Ange Postecoglu, and I'm honestly not sure on him. He actually looks like he has some good attacking-minded ideas. And with Kane set to stay, maybe Postecoglu could mount a European charge. I think it's a 50-50 on this one. He could get sacked, he could not. I'm not completely sure. Next up we have David Moyes, and I think he's getting sacked. West Ham have only made one signing in Edson Alvarez, and their squad is definitely weaker than last year, and especially with European football to contend with. I just think David Moyes, who was linked with the sack a lot last season, he could find his time is up pretty soon. I hope he doesn't, because he seems like a good coach and a good guy, but I don't know. And finally we have Julian Lopetegui. I mean, by the time you're watching this, he might have already been sacked. There are reports linking him to the sack, or he might quit. Things don't seem great at Wolves. A lot of their transfers haven't impressed me very much, and they haven't seemingly impressed Lopetegui. He isn't immune to the sack either, getting sacked at Sevilla last season. I think he will be sacked before the end of the season, or he will leave by mutual consent. But what do you think? Do you think your manager is safe this season? Do you think your manager will be sacked? Let me know in the comments below. Feel free to subscribe, it really helps me out, and I'll see you later.